Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Say What. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the party, Starlights. I want to get into it this early Saturday. Listen, a lot of people have been talking about the rapper Freddie P. He was once I guess, a label mate of Bad Boy Records. I don't know how that. I imagine the contract is no longer in place. I don't know, uh, but he at one point was affiliated with Bad Boy. He was put on through Puffy from, I guess, remember the reality show, um, the band making of the band. I think it was called The Band, or Making of the Band, and I was really young. I wonder if I was really young when that came out. So I can remember it. A lot of the, I guess, younger people, maybe millennials, may not really remember or know about that show or remember it much, but it was a big show that Puff Daddy, P Diddy, whatever name, whatever name he goes by today. It was a big show, and I remember it. Like I definitely remember that show. I tuned in regularly to watch it. So I want to talk about Freddie P and his current mental state. Recently, he released a video letting the world know just how he is doing, how he's feeling, and it was very emotional. A lot of people just felt really sad about it, just as I went through the comments or listened to commentary by other people. It's just a sad situation. So as you come in, and for those who've already joined the live, thank you, welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe, and engage. Let me know your thoughts as I get into this. Freddie P, when I think it probably was about like 20 years ago when he did making of the band. It was a reality show. I guess it was like one of your first early on reality shows before things, reality TV became what it is today. It looks like it was around 2002. So like I said, I was really young, and I'm gonna share just my screen and just show some history of the show, the band, and the members. Because right now, today, like, we don't know really what any of them really are doing, like as far as on a mainstream level. You may follow some of them independently on their socials, but they're not like out there popping like many of artists that were once affiliated or a part of the Bad Boy label. And I personally feel like that's just a whole problem. It's like anybody who's been affiliated with Bad Boy outside of Puffy, it's like their career has just went to hell. Like, not even just their career, but just from even an emotional place, especially the men. Let's talk about the men. I don't, it's a lot of speculations around, why the males artists are left, or when they leave that label, are left feeling a certain type of way, or noticeably not the same as they were once before. And it's just a whole problem. And I think it deserves to be talked about, to be discussed. So, for starters, I want to just remind you, or familiarize, or let those who may not even be aware of, who Freddie P is, what his background is, where he came from. So let me jump over. Y'all know how I do. Let me share my screen. And I found this article that talked about the band. And, the question is, what happened to the band? And this is a 2018 update. This article was in 2018. So if you see, this is a picture of the members. And like I said, I was at that time, I was a young millennial. I was what, 22 at this time. So this was it. This was the show to watch. It was the talked about show. So The article goes on to say the band was a hip hop group created in 2002 by P. Diddy for the show Making the Band 2. Around 40,000 participants auditioned for the show, but only 6 made it through. Sarah Stokes, Dylan, Delinja, Chopper, Babs, Ines, and Freddie P. During the first few weeks of the show, they were tasked with deeming jobs such as the famous incident where they walked from Manhattan to Brooklyn to buy a cheesecake for P. Diddy. The premise of the show, watching the process of creating stars, was very interesting to the audience. Due to the high interest, the show went on for 3 seasons and included lots of drama between the crew. But that was way back, almost 16 years ago. Let's check out what happened to the group members since then. What are the band members doing in 2018? Recent updates. So this was a really long time. As you see, the faces of the members of the group, none of them are faces that we really seen like do it big on a grand level, make the money that even like a fraction of what like Puff Daddy made just from having this show and featuring these young adults, or some may still call them young kids. So Ines, if any of you are 80s babies around that time, if you was watching Making the Band back in early 2002, and it was probably older adults who also watched the show Making of the Band. But listen, I'm an 80s baby over here. I was 22 in 2002, so I definitely was glued to the television watching Making of the Band. Back then, you couldn't be trying to re-record and did that DVR stuff. Like, that wasn't even a whole thing. It was like, yo, you needed to be like right there in front of the TV when it aired. So Ines was one of the rappers. The update is Lloyd Mathis, better known as Ines, was the leader of the band. His role as the leader has helped the group debut with an album that ranked number 2 of Billboard's top 200 albums in the country's list. Ness was also popular for his feuds with fellow group member Freddie P. However, once the band split up in 2003, P. Diddy decided to sign both of them into a duo. After the band split up, Ness released several singles: The Next Best Thing, The Pursuit of Happiness, and Wrong Turn, and started doing rap battles. Today, you can find Lloyd doing rap battles in Philadelphia. So, why is he somewhere doing rap battles in Philadelphia when Puffy run around with a whole label that this man can just put out his music on? I mean, that's that stuff I'm talking about. Why? Moving on. Babs Bunny, Lioness, Babs Bunny. Wiley was the group's only female. So it's Lioness Wiley, Lioness Wiley, but she went by Babs Bunny. She was the group's only female rapper who remained in the rap game until this day. In 2010, she started a female rap battle league, which has since become the largest one in the world. You can follow the Queen of the Ring on YouTube, where their videos are ranking in millions of views. You can also find Babs herself all over social media. I didn't even know Babs was still out here in these streets working like this. So props, kudos to her, but it ain't got nothing to do with Bad Boy or Puffy. What had happened? What had happened was like, why? Why is sis out here doing her own thing, trying to make it do what it do on YouTube? That part. I don't understand. Moving on. Dylan Delinja, I'm not quite sure how he pronounced that last name, but I remember they pronounced his first name Dylan. Dylan John, better known as Dylan Delinja, has stayed in the rap industry since 2002. Other than his music work, Dilly is also known for a skit that Dave Chappelle did on him in 2014. He stated that he's still earning money simply from being mentioned in the skit. Dylon also met Kanye West and will.i.am long before they were famous and even had some plans to work with them. But ultimately, it all failed. Recently, he has released a new album, Pain to Power. Dilly is very proud of his work on the album and is hoping for a Grammy nomination. So, if y'all can recall, I'm gonna try to show that. If some of you may have already seen that video that Freddie P had put out, and he talked about his relationships with other artists and people in the industry were impacted, and he felt it was as a result of him no longer being affiliated or working with Puff Daddy, P Diddy, whatever we gonna be calling him. So suddenly, Dylon is saying, his relationships, things didn't work out where he was supposed to be working with Kanye West and will.i.am. What's all that? I'm just saying, we'll just let that sit there. What happened with that? So Chopper, I definitely remember him. He was like the hothead. Kevin Barnes, who was known as Chopper, is a controversial New Orleans rapper, formerly a member of the band. After the group split, he was one of 3 members that Diddy wanted to keep working with. However, not much fruit has come from his musical career afterwards. After some troublesome affairs in 2013, Chopper has decided to turn his life around. In 2015, he stated that his life is all good now. He has once again started doing music, this time turning his style around. So we are excited to see what happened next. So he was working with Puff Daddy, but something happened. It didn't. However, it says not much fruit has come from his music career after he started working with Puff Daddy, like as this solo act. Like, anybody know what happened with that? What happened with that? Freddie P Is, he's the only one that's really talking right now. Do you guys think that other people or other members that was affiliated with the band will start talking, tell their side of the story, whether it's in support of Freddie P or whether it's in support of Puff Daddy? Do you think we will hear from them? Next, Sarah Stokes. I definitely remember Sarah. I liked her. She had good energy. Another controversial icon in the band. Stara, let me see what they're saying. Stara Stokes was very difficult to work with due to her issues with her husband, Tony. The troubles continue for many years, but we are happy to say that Sarah has decided to improve herself in, excuse me, the recent time. She has been seen on TV, on the TV show From the Bottom Up. The show covers 5 women who fell from success as they are climbing their way back up. I want to say Sarah had some kids too, y'all. Like she was married, and I think she had like some kids. Like, even I don't know why I want to say she had like 3 kids, but she's had a whole family. But she was out here trying to make it do what it do for her family. So I definitely remember Sarah. So Freddie P, he is who the primary topic of the show is today. Freddie P. Freddie Pollock, the Miami rapper who was once all about #squad life, has also remained in the industry. Not only is he still in the game, he has also remained friends with Chopper, and they're planning to release a mixtape together. Today, you can catch Freddie on Instagram showing off his freestyle and wealth. So, as we've caught up, this is as of 2018. Not one of these people were listed as saying that they were still working with Puff Daddy or had affiliation with the Bad Boy label or anything like that. Fast forward to today, current times, the month of March. Freddie P has decided to break his silence and speak on his situation and the current status of his relationship with Puff Daddy. And it's quite disturbing, to say the least. It's quite disturbing. So I'm going to jump over to another website. We're going to jump over to Gossip Bossip.com, and they had some interesting information pertaining to this situation that I want to share. Because like I said, this is an entire mess. I definitely believe this man, from what, as I said, as I've gotten into the comments, I've yet to read a comment where somebody was like, nah, cat, he clout chasing. Like, I ain't seen nothing like that. It was just straight support for this man. So, Bossip, this article states, or tight heads, Bad Boy Records regrets Freddie P reveals Diddy and making the band is the reason he, quote unquote, hates life. So this is recently reported. Freddie P from MTV's hit show Making the Band reveals the show and Diddy are responsible for why he hates life. Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise. Even, in this live, I want to also get into what others, in particular Mase, the rapper Mase, or the former, I don't even know if we still call him a rapper. Remember, y'all, he's finessed and got his way out of his little contract situation by turning to Jesus and said he was going to be a pastor. So, but he's been on record to make some comments, unfavorable comments about Puff Daddy as well. So we'll get into that, but let's continue on with this article. Recently, social media decided to bring Diddy's Making the Band back in the spotlight for the new generation. They were blown away learning about the new show and all its drama and the fact the band actually released an album. However, the most surprising part of some of the social media was seeing the hopeful artist walking to get a slice of cheesecake for Diddy. Looking back, you could argue it was humiliating, but at the time, artists creating opportunities for themselves online was unheard of, unlike now. With the show going viral, naturally, people began to ask where the cast where the cast is these days, and one person who spoke up was rapper Freddie P, the fade captain on the show. He took to social media to repost a fan airing out Diddy for his actions on the show, and instantly you could tell he hasn't healed from the experience. So let's back up. This is not something I didn't know. So there's, I guess, talks of bringing back the show. Let's see. Recently, social media decided to bring Diddy's Making the Band back in the spotlight. Okay, so somebody brought, I guess, okay, so I thought they was trying to like make another band. And I'm like, hold up, what we do with the first one? So somebody brought it up. Okay, listen. I'm trying to make sure I understand what's going on. So this quote, God knows if I was at Diddy, I would have done way more for these kids. Freddie wrote in the caption, any real ninja would have. You start out just chasing a dream, then it quickly gets snatched away. Made me never want to rap. God gonna have the last laugh. My talents was given to me to touch hearts and homes, and it was silenced. You silenced God's plan. Everyone who took part will depart horribly from, and look, there was an earth emoji. The saddest part of the post was Freddie openly admitting he still feels Diddy causes him mental harm and has even considered taking his own life. Like, I personally feel like Diddy needs to stay away from kids, youth, hell, people, period. Like, he's just not that one. So this is I want to play some of this this post that he made speaking on his personal experience with P. Diddy.
A lot of people don't understand what I've been through. This year alone, I done contemplated suicide 2 or 3 times. I done pictured my brother walking in, finding me dead. I cried a few times thinking about leaving my son because you just get tired of life. It's like no matter what you try to do, you just got to keep back.
So this man said this year alone, he's contemplated offing himself 3 times. Y'all, like, we just entered the month of March. So like, this all just this week broke with this video. So I'm gonna say it's not dated here when he posted this, but we gonna say it was most likely this week. So if he talking about this year alone, like we 3 months in barely, and he said he's already was ready to check out at least 3 times. Like that's a whole problem right there. And the question of why and trying to understand the root of it, it just definitely deserves to be explored because mental health is no joke.
Valid. Niggas got their foot on your neck. Niggas want to see you fall. And it be niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's this nigga Puffy. And my main motherfucking reason why I really hate fucking life, dog. Like, people don't even understand. Like, I don't even give a fuck. But I've never been to a point where I've thought of suicide my whole life. Never. Nigga, I'm a gangster. You know, I partake in my share of street things that might occur. I apologize for my sins every night. But me personally, my own life, the thought alone, I was telling my dog, I'm like, I don't even know how I started thinking like that. Because I don't, it done got so bad where I done had it all and fell to the bottom. How do you come back from that when you battling a giant? It's like no matter what you do, it ain't got nothing to do with your skill no more. Because your skill is 90% better than any nigga that's out there right now in the world.
So how many how many times have we heard basically artists talk about, I guess artists who has been affiliated with Puff Daddy talk about or been able to relate to 1 minute they were at the top and it's like almost like overnight they were at the bottom, and all the way up until their last days when they just checked out, however they left us, they were still what many would consider to be at the bottom. Why? But there has been no time that we've seen P Diddy ever at the bottom. He's always still been out here Harlem shaking, popping bottles, dressed to the nine, getting IG models, rappers flued out, just looking like he's living his best life, while people that has been associated with him are just broken down. How have you questioned that? And it seemed like a lot of people have questioned that. But as we see, as he's moving about in this industry, he's still rubbing elbows and getting in the face, getting in, being at parties and being around people in the industry who are also high up, and they just still rocking with him like all this foolishness ain't taking place, or as though they don't see it all. That ain't my business. And it just makes you wonder what kind of relationships, that behind the scenes do he have with these people who still choose to associate themselves with him? Does it come down to, okay, well, if I can control you and control how you move and this, that, and the third, then we good and your career gonna be good. But the minute give me the Heisman or try to put your arm, give me an arm's length, or try not to want to comply about these rules that I'm trying to set or do what I want you to do, then suddenly like the career is just gone. And then you're just wondering what happened to these people. It's you just left wondering. And Puffy seems to be a common denominator for a lot of these rappers who were specifically affiliated with Bad Boy at some point. Like he's just that person that the other rappers all have in common, like where he was the center of it all. Why? Why is that?
World knows it, but it ain't your skill because you can't even get where you going because of the world is built on relationships. So if a nigga fuck with you, that's saying they don't fuck with Diddy. That's basically Khaled, Ross, all them niggas chose. You think I don't know them niggas? Them niggas ain't never gave me a verse. Them niggas ain't never did. Now, when I first seen Ross, man, after that shit, niggas said, man, I love you, man. You know what you did for our city? I love you, man. In the middle of the club, my nigga. Nigga ain't never gave me, nigga ain't never called back and say, man, like real niggas supposed to. Every artist in Miami look out for each other. You ever seen anyone nigga do anything for me? Them niggas got their deal on the strength of me, man. Khaled them and Diddy relationship is built off me, man. That's why them niggas don't fuck with me. That's why they can't fuck with me. Them niggas love, I had love, man. I was the only nigga screaming Khaled name when he wasn't shit, bro.
Remember when I covered or talked about the before we moved over to Boss Up, where one of the members of making of the band, that was, let me see, was that Dylon? Dylon said, the article talked about Dylon was supposed to be working with Kanye West and will.i.am on a project, but something happened and it didn't work out. What y'all think had happened? What do you think happened? Did somebody get in the ear of these particular artists? And next thing you know, the interest was no longer there to work with Dylon? Or do you think that it's kind of just, with the rappers, these other rappers, they as Freddie P just said, working with him means that, okay, well, it's almost like these other artists feel like, well, I got to choose a side. So if I work with someone that P. Diddy is no longer associated with or don't rock with, then that's disrespect to him. So out of loyalty, I'm not going to work with some people who he got beef with or don't work with for whatever reason. So that's why when I saw that Dylon, it talked about Dylon was supposed to be working with Kanye West and will.i.am, and then just something kind of happened and it never worked out. I just couldn't help but to wonder if it was kind of that same reasoning that Freddie P gave as to why he believed artists don't want to work with him. And to me, it makes sense. And this man talking about he put on these people in Florida. Like he was a rapper before we even knew who a Rick Ross was. Remember, Rick Ross he's still at the correctional facility. Remember, he was a whole correctional officer. And then we dang sure know we didn't know about no DJ Khaled, So this man, I don't think he's lying. I think he's telling the truth about, being an artist from Florida, from Miami. When you get put on, you put the next person on. Like, I believe this man. And now that they've made it and they making their millions, they done forgot all about him. Listen, as they say, God do not like ugly, and every dog will have their day. And I definitely believe in that. It's just sad.
Every city too, every radio station, every event. Can't do no one DJ with me, nigga. Cause I'm a real nigga like that. Ross was my favorite rapper before he ever fucking touched the Diddy hand. But notice how after the band, Diddy put his hands on them niggas. A few months later, oh, he wanna be there because that was a spit in my face. Because me and him know what happened. Me and him had the conversation inside the office. I know what was supposed to take them. I just don't come from where I can be purchased, man. I ain't come from that, man. I came from, man, sleeping on dirty clothes, man. I used to fill up my clothes. We used to sleep on fucking pillowcases, man. Me, I used to wear we used to wash our clothes out, hang them bitches in the bathroom, go to school, mildew, my nigga. So I can't be purchased, bro. I've been through a lot. My family been through a lot, bro. For 20 years, man, it's like, and people are like, oh, why you ain't? Because, bro, anybody that signed me, basically, I can't prove that this nigga hating on me, but I can see through my peers' actions how a nigga like Khaled can't even fuck with me. He can't even, if he want to. And I'll ask you after ask yourself, oh, damn, Khaled, when we got beef? Damn, Ricky, when we got, why you cutting checks to all these other niggas joining? Ain't damn, man, damn, what artist Ricky Ross ever signed fuck with me, man? I went through 40,000, man. Ain't damn nigga Ricky signed that can go through 40,000, man. Ain't damn nigga Kanye signed that can run through 40,000. Ain't damn nigga, none of these niggas ever signed that can run through 40,000, man. And be noticed by a nigga who sold 80 million records. You can't take away what we done already. I done been through a lot, dog. After some time, you just get tired, bro.
So he's saying, I guess he sold 80 million records. Make it make sense. How does somebody who has sold 80 million records be where he is today, posting a video such as this? And from what he say, his skill is still there. To me, it just makes sense that he's been blocked. What do you call it? I guess blackballed in the industry. I mean, how else do you look at it? That's basically what he's saying, that there's people or a individual who he believes, is rooted at, Puffy being the root. He don't have any proof, but he's just going off of, okay, there was a time when these people like DJ Khaled, Rick Ross, where they rocked with him, and then suddenly they started kind of giving him the cold shoulder. And then he knew that, like, if you had an issue with somebody before, so you ain't crazy. And he's like, okay, I ain't had no beef, no issue with these people. Why suddenly they treating me like this? Like, make it make sense. Anybody in just life period can relate to that. You were just good with somebody, and then suddenly it's gonna make you sit and think like, what the heck, and you start putting stuff together. And what he's saying is, what he's concluded is that Puff Daddy is the common denominator. And he remember, as he said, having a conversation with Puff Daddy in the office. And so he can kind of pinpoint, like, at that moment when things kind of had went left with him and Puff Daddy. Next thing you know, these artists and things that he was trying to put on Puffy, because he's the bigger name, got all the millions, he kind of swooped in. And next thing you know, these people are affiliated with him. Like, he's telling it. He telling it. It's just up to you if you want to receive what he's telling you. I mean, that's just up to you. But he's telling it, he's putting it out there. And once you put out a truth, what they say, you can't unhear something. So this information that this man has put out, we can't unhear this. It just comes down to either you heard it and you like, okay, well, I don't care, I'ma still rock with him, or you hear what he's saying and you like, yo, like, okay, this dude Puff Daddy is shiesty. Like, I can't rock with him. Like, it's like you got to pick a side, but you can't sit in denial anymore. You can't try to say, okay, I ain't ever heard that. No, this stuff that this man is saying, we've pretty much been hearing stuff like this out there. But I'm going to say he's probably like the first who really put it out there, like, in detail in this way. Some people other artists may have made low-key shots or whatever, or you looking at their life and suddenly, they went from riches, they was from rags to riches back to rags, and you kind of put piece and stuff together, because we ain't crazy over here. But this man is outright saying, yo, what you been thinking? Yeah, that's what's going down. That's what's going down. You don't have to wonder. I'm here to confirm, to let you know. Yes. P is on some F-ish, and this is how he moving out here in these streets. And basically, if he's already feeling like he's just no longer really wants to be here, he feeling like he ain't got nothing to lose anyway. So let me just put this out there. Can you blame him? Like, what does he have to lose? This man said, he got kids. The thought, having his son, things like that, it has him to want to continue to fight. But he's still feeling like I don't have nothing to lose. Like, what do I got? So I'm just finna, if this is gonna be my last words, I'm finna get this out. And this is my truth. However you do, you let it sit where you want to let it sit. But this is my truth.
You just get tired. I had to find more reasons to live this shit. I want step kids or something, dog. Cause my son grown, and seeing him happy, seeing him be successful is the last thing I want on earth. Y'all niggas don't know how contemplated suicide. I love God. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of earth, man. I want somebody to take my life, bro. I asked God to take my life, bro. I don't want to do it. Because of the shit that nigga been through. I step on shit. No problem. I told my son the other day, I said, you know how good I feel knowing you don't have to come up in a life where you gotta pray for your sins. Well, you don't have to worry about it. I said, no, I've been through a lot. I've been praying for my forgiveness for my whole life. I don't know no other way. I don't know what it feels to be a good citizen. I don't know that shit, though. I never had that, my nigga. For 13, we been providing on our own, dog. Big gangsters. My nigga, my mama's kids. We ain't had no daddies, all that shit y'all niggas got. We ain't got all that, man. My big brother was my daddy, dog, and we learned along the way. So I came up in the life where shooting is normal, robbing is normal. That's not my son will have to go through that. He could be a citizen. He can go do anything in this world. He be a pilot. My fucking son will be a pilot, nigga. Think I give a fuck about these niggas. It ain't even about money no more. This shit ain't even about money, gang. Cause can't no money make me happy. Nigga, my dog asked me the other day. He like, what make you happy, bro? I'm like, I don't even know, man. Just I like doing for people. I just like to be able to be there for. I just love to be there for people. That's what made me happy from day one. That's why I even did it, man. I don't give a fuck about no music, man. God gave me this talent. This talent is given, bro. You can't take that from me, bro. I do this shit. This shit y'all work hard on, I do in 2 minutes, man. 2 minutes. It take a lot to do this video. I don't even know if I'm gonna release it, but I needed this for my sanity. I had to just break away.
The pain that this man is feeling at the hands of another man, like no other person should be able to have that type of control over you. And it's just unfortunate that there are people out there, toxic people, that can have that control over other people. And this man has broken down and cried. He talked about a conversation with his son, and he just wants, excuse me, to see his adult son be successful. He talked about it's not even about the money. It's just about being able to help people. Like, that's something I can even understand. Like, when I think about riches, success, it's not even about the money as in like materialistic things for me. It's about being able to be in a position to help others. Like, that's what it's about. And I can see why he so easily, when he was at the top at one point during the early 2000s, he reached back and lent his and gave a helping hand to like Rick Ross and DJ Khaled, was shouting them out, things like that, is because, you know, you can look at his track record. His track record shows, you know, if he's saying that he's the first one that was out there, you know, shouting out their names and things at concert, that shows that he's not lying about just wanting to help the next person, the next man. Like, that's where he gets his gratification from. And I've heard artists say, like, people who are in the industry, they do it because they like the gratification, you know, that it gives to other people, because he said that's his God gift and his talent, and he wants to bless other people with it. So I feel him. I believe him. You can see the hurt and the pain just looking at him. You can hear it in his voice. This is, as they say, you can't make this ish up. It's raw, it's real deal. Whether you like it or not, this is this man's truth. And it's just a sad reality that far too many people have become victim of another man and his toxic behaviors. He's still walking around, running around like he just Rico Suave, just the man. And it's just sad. It's sad. But what they say, what you don't do, someone else will. So, you know, anybody who's out here running around doing ill will, having bad intentions, you know, Lord knows all, and they're going to have their day, period. And that's all that we can just rely on and get through, on knowing that that person is going to be taken care of. It ain't got to be about you, because when karma happens, like, it's going to, the way that person going to be dealt with, I always see it, they're dealt with, people are dealt with in a far more severe way than what you could have even imagined if you would have dealt with them yourself. So I say, don't get your hands dirty. You let the universe handle that. You just sit back and wait, because it's going to happen, because it always happens. And you just sit back and see what happens. And that's what this man has to do. He just got to, what they say, let go and let God, leave it in God's hands. He's still here with us. He's still kicking. I feel like God's going to take care of him. I was listening to yesterday, Kwame Brown, and he was just talking about just feeling this young man's pain and understanding, and saying, this man could have come from just his neck of the woods. Just, he understood the struggle. And he said he wants to talk to this man. Like, so I'm hoping that somebody connects him to Kwame Brown. He has a really large platform, almost 500,000 subscribers just on YouTube. So hopefully this man can be connected to Kwame Brown, just to get his story out. And I just feel like Kwame would be that man to even help him, get back on his feet. Like, that's just who he is, which is why I follow him. He's just a positive brother out there, just trying to, he said he for the people. He said, don't call me no celebrity, I'm for the people. And I believe that. And because he see the F-ish that happens in the industry to the quote unquote celebrities, he was like, I don't want to be no celebrity, because he's not seeing no incentive for being a celebrity. If being a celebrity means you end up looking like this and being in a position like this and feeling like this man is feeling, I want no parts of it. I always say, I'll take the riches any day over the fame. You can have the fame. You can have the fame. And what has happened is this young man at one point had both. And when that fame was removed, the riches was removed. So now, because he had that fame, he tries to go out and try to get a job, and people looking at him sideways and want to judge him, because it's like, hey, aren't you Freddie? Like, I personally wouldn't recognize him if I've seen him on the street. But I guess I don't know if he's still living in Miami, where he's from. So of course, I guess if you're a local, people know you. I don't follow him like that, so I wouldn't know him. I think now, because I'm seeing this video, I kind of got his face remembered in my mind. I would probably recognize him if I saw him out and about. But prior to this week, no, I really hadn't even given thought of him or any of the members of, that group. It is what it is. So let's continue on with this video.
And talk to myself real quick. But people don't know what a nigga been through to be at your highest peak and have it snatched away from you because you don't want to kiss ass. And man, we all black people, man. Black people continue to step on each other and hold each other down. And that shit for people mental. I'm a nigga that'll run in there and blow your shit loose, bro. I don't give a fuck. Do you really want to be in a situation where you make a man that mad, dog? Where you take it from a man's family, where I gotta sell dope for 20 years and survive in these streets and still don't have a felony, my nigga. I have my freedom almost taken away from me several times, dog. You hear me? Trying to survive, my nigga. You can't go get no job. You just want to be regular sometimes. You can't even go get a job. You walk in the job, hey, Freddie P, what's up, boy? You gotta back up out of what the fuck. You can't even be a regular human no more after some shit like that. But he don't know nothing about that, because he don't come from this shit. He don't come from this shit for real. Niggas like that don't come from this shit. Niggas like that don't think all about hurting, getting gain, power. Niggas gonna die horribly, man. You niggas gonna die horribly. Tested for cancer, something, man. God gonna get you niggas, man. Because you fuck with God hard, man. You got a nigga like me who don't even care about no money. I would have did way more for my city than any one of these niggas.
That's why I say, you don't need to get your hands dirty going out there doing anything, doing any harm, anything like that. The universe takes care of that, because God knows all, he sees all. Like, you ain't even got to do that's how I move. Like, I don't even worry about trying to, do some get back to somebody. No, you don't even need to do all that. Long as you know you living right, you doing your part, you just don't even worry about what that next person doing. You just know that they're gonna be dealt with. And Puff Daddy has done so much just ill will onto people. And you know, this stuff ain't even alleged. Like this stuff some people have talked about. Like this man, this is an example of somebody who's been affiliated with him. Like, I just wonder how Puff Daddy, how P. Diddy sleeps at night personally. Like, does this man actually even sleep? He got to be lonely. Like, to me, even though I see him prancing around, you know, to me, I just still pick up this spirit that this man is lonely. He's lonely. He's a lonely old man. Like when I see P. Diddy, I look at him as like a lonely old man and just trying to front like he got it all. But he's lonely. He's cold. He's hurting. I believe that hurt, what they say, hurt people, hurt other people. And I believe that he has been hurt at some point in his life, maybe early on in his career, where some people or individuals, you know, may have taken advantage of him, and he's doing what maybe has been done onto him, thinking, okay, well, this is how it goes. Just some deep rooted stuff that you need couch time for, counseling. But either way, it's still no excuse, because he knows he knows that what he's doing or what he's done is wrong. So any of these things that people have alleged that he has done onto him, he knows if it's true or not, whether we know or not, he knows. And that's something he has to deal with his higher power. And maybe that's, you know, karma could be with him not having successful relationships. And, you know, because he don't have a wife. His last long-term relationship ended with Cassie. She left him, and just as quick as she left him, she got married, and now I think she had 2 kids with her husband. So ain't nobody trying to be around that. And maybe that's kind of, you know, what's happening with him, is that he's basically this rich man who has to pay to have people around. What kind of life is that, to know that people only trying to rock with you or come in your presence when it's affiliated with you trying to do something for them or buy them, not because they genuinely just want to be around you? Who we seeing as looking like they genuinely just want to be around that man, outside of maybe his kids? Like, we don't even know how the kids feel when it comes to him. Or, we see him with his children, but outside of that, like, who do you see that look like they just genuinely rocking with this man because they just want to rock with him? No, it just seemed like it be on some, okay, he's spending money, he popping bottles, because he's trying to show them a good time. That real relationships, friends, you ain't got to do all that. They just want to rock with you just because you're you.
Because I'm from Liberty City, I'm from Old Town. Them niggas just shoot videos though. Them niggas ain't never did shit for Gibson Park, William Park. Them niggas ain't never built no homes for the homeless. Them niggas ain't did nothing I would have did. Them niggas exploited my city, they exploited the culture. Y'all don't know, I'm just telling y'all, man. Be mindful, dog. Appreciate what you got, man. But you're not God, bro. When God puts you on a mission to change people's lives, you do what he asks you to do. And you be rewarded. Nigga at 900 million, nigga, you still at 9. Kanye done passed you. Jay done passed you. Cause they don't practice bad business like that. They ain't stepping on each other to get where they gotta go. Nigga, you look at Jay-Z, nigga, Dame made millions, Bean made millions. All them niggas around them made real money. Nigga, you ain't made 200,000 with you, nigga. But you done made over 60, 70 million off us, nigga. We ain't make 200,000 a piece off you, nigga. Listen, man. I just want to tell y'all, this music industry ain't what it seems. I got people in this music industry right now that won't fuck with me, and I was cool with them. They won't fuck with me because of that nigga. Because fucking with me and you won't fuck with that nigga. He take it personal. He want to shut doors, so they don't want to have nothing to do with that, and I don't blame him. I blame that nigga. Tell you, man. I had to talk to Dallon. I tell my brother what I was going through. I had to talk to Sean, Terry, the real people that's up under me know what This shit, they know I love, I'm fascinated with death. I'm ready for the next journey. When you go through what that nigga put a nigga through for the last 20 years, you get tired, bro.
So he's saying he's tired. He is talking to people, friends. He mentioned Dylon. Remember, Dylon was one of the members of the band. So it's good he's talking to people, but he's saying he's tired. He's ready to check out. He's exhausted. And to me, just from just my background, like it's to me giving, it sounding like he's depressed, because what a symptom of depression is suicidal ideation, where you have just thoughts of offing yourself, like, period. That's what it is. And typically, more for the most part, anyone who pretty much off themselves, they kind of suffered from a depression that led up to that. And I think that's what we're dealing with, a man who's battling depression. I haven't heard him yet, say that in his video, and he may not even realize it. That's what it is. But if he were to receive some type of clinical mental health counseling, I'm sure that would be something that would be presented to him by the professional. And that's something that can be managed. So I just hope that this video, like, it makes it to people, a person, someone who can help him, to provide him services to help him get through this tough time for him, because we all have tough times in our lives. Some are just more severe than others. People handle stress differently, hardships differently, all of that. People, we're different, so we're going to handle it different. And this man, he's struggling, and he's putting it out here to the world that he's struggling. Like, it's no secret. Like, he's letting it all out. He's not holding back. He like, yo, it ain't no, okay, I'm a man, I'm embarrassed, no, he's putting it all out there. This man is struggling with his mental health right now. And when hearing his story, you can certainly understand why or how he got to this place that he's in today. And many people, and the thing about is, what this man is going through is not something that somebody can, like, over the phone, somebody can step in and just help him. It doesn't really work that way. This is deep. He has deep rooted issues that needs to be dealt with a mental health professional. Like, it's on that level. So it's beyond just somebody just talking to him. Talking to, that helps, because it's allowing for him to get out the things that he's been kind of keeping in, and probably like keeping to himself, out of just embarrassment, out of thinking that, okay, men shouldn't feel defeated. Men, you know how that goes. But now he's at a point to where he's like, F all that. Like, yo, this is the real deal. And I'm going to let you know, this is, what's been going on. This is my current situation. And I'm struggling out here. So we have to respect the fact that he's being honest enough with himself and to the world as to what is really going on with him.
It's tired. You come, you grow hate. It's like a cancer. It's like, nigga, what type of nigga is you? I want to leave this here in case I ever fucking perish, my nigga. You could look back at this, dog. You die before me, dog. How you think I'm gonna feel? You think I'm gonna laugh? Or you think I'm gonna cry? When you die, people supposed to cry about you, dog. This world gonna talk bad about you, brother. This world gonna exploit every bad thing. How you got every bad dollar? Your legacy is fucked, man. And you don't even go back and try to make it right, my nigga. Cause that shit not in you. Y'all niggas be worried about what's on you, not what's in you. That's the difference between everybody in y'all generation and my generation. That's the fuck generations, period. You niggas that's built for money only worry about what's on you. Yeah, I've been through it.
Now, that was a real statement when he said that, because I just thought about just the people that just I see out here in the industry, and like Puff Daddy and like many of the other artists, to where it's like they're so unremoved or removed from just the reality of just a situation or just society, that it's just about, okay, like he said, what's on them, like what they're looking like, the facade, the image that they're giving off. And it's not like they're reading the room to see that, okay, what's really, to see really what's really going on around them or in the world. I see that a lot. And not even just with celebrities, just everyday people, where you see to where it's just about just surface type stuff, posting for the gram, having the latest clothes, the shoes, the hair, the nail, the lashes, like all of that. And it's just like, but though what's in them, they're dead inside, they're broken, and they're hurt, they're lonely, like they got all this that's going on with them inside that doesn't show on the outside. And people with discernment oftentimes can kind of see through those things. And that's what he's talking about. He sees through all of that because he knows the real deal. He knows that, you know what's going on out here, and you know the deal, but you just choosing to act like everything is all good, and it's not. I mean, I think that's what Kanye's doing right now. Like Kanye, he's running around acting like, giving a facade that he's all good as far as with his pictures, his products, his clothes, his wearing masks, whatever, all the antics that he does. But somebody like me have seen for a long time, this is a man who's hurting, um, and who got deep rooted things that maybe never have been dealt with, and things that goes back to childhood. Because a lot of times it's like when you don't want to deal with stuff, it don't just go away. It's just there. And then new things just over the years, over time, just pile on top of that. So, and throughout life, your trauma, all of that starts to surface or to play out in just different aspects of your life. A lot of times in your relationships, the trauma or the dysfunction that you experience, it'll play out in your relationships, and you will have unhealthy relationships. And I think that's basically the root of P Diddy. He has unhealthy relationships. Why is his relationships so unhealthy on a personal level as well as a business level? Again, I'm a believer that things like that goes back to just childhood. It's just deep rooted issues. And instead of him dealing with those things so he can become better and not put on to people the hurt or trauma that someone had put onto him, he just dishes it out. And that's where the saying comes from: hurt people hurt people, hurt other people. Like, that's a real statement, y'all. And like, it is. It's what happened. It's a vicious cycle. And unfortunately, in our community, the Black community, we're not advocates enough for counseling. I mean, more and more I'm starting to hear people speak out about it or recommend it. Or remember, there was a time when Ayanla Fix My Life was a big thing. So that's like a form of like counseling, things like that. But it needs to be bigger, because we as a people, we got a lot going on. We've dealt with more trauma, I would say, than any other cultural group, and is layered. And I think that's why we have so much dysfunction in our community, because we're not dealing with it, because of the stigma associated with talking to a therapist or a counselor. A lot of people feel like, or I've heard people say like, I ain't crazy. Like, they feel like, okay, if they go talk to a counselor, psychiatrist, somebody, is going to give off the perception that they're crazy, something's wrong with them. Or they think that, oh, well, going to a counselor, that automatically means they're going to be prescribed to a prescription, which isn't true. Sometimes you are, but then sometimes you're not. Sometimes you can just need to talk to somebody. But then sometimes, you may need a little help, and you need a, medication to help you, because, mental illness, it's like a chemical imbalance. A lot of the disorders, it's a chemical imbalance, and you need help with that. And that's where like the medication come in there. And that's why I feel like this man should really talk to someone, because I'm getting depression, even though he hasn't said it. This is just my personal opinion. I just feel like this man is battling depression.
Well, sometimes I just want to get away from the world and go get me a great job paying. I ain't got no felonies, man. I could have been anything, man. My whole family in law enforcement. I could have been a CSI. I could have been anything, man. But you put me on a pedestal to where I could be a world failure. If I'm succeeding in music, anything else in this world, you get publicly humiliated. Publicly humiliated. So I gotta sell dope. I gotta do what I gotta do to stay relevant for 20 years to make sure my son has, because I can't go get it. I gotta do this shit. I don't want to do that shit. Nobody survived this long in that shit. I did, nigga. Not halfway either. Ask him. I step on shit for real. Ask him. That ain't shit to brag about. You know why I did that? To protect my family. I did that so the streets know if you touch this family. Because I ain't have that protection growing up, dog. Ain't nobody. All I had was my brother Trigger and Foot. I ain't have no uncles that were known for this shit. My nephew uncle's known for this shit. Y'all play with them, you know what's coming with this shit. And that's why I did it. That's why when I left high school, I said, you know what? I'm gonna make sure no nigga play with my fucking family no more, nigga. When I get older, nigga gonna know not to touch my son. When I get older, niggas gonna know how to play with my fucking nephew. These niggas live in fairy tale, all that 20 grand, get your brand man pinned to the ceiling, man. It was 10, nigga. You know what's up with me, man. Yeah. Shit came from the county, you know what's up. You know how we rockin', man. We really live this shit. Y'all niggas out here, all this fairy tale shit, easy kissing that. Y'all done got rich off a nigga name, ain't come back and throw a nigga $1. Got rich off a nigga because a nigga hated me so much, he went and shed the light to y'all. Because I walked away from his plan. So he went and gave it to y'all. And y'all in return, y'all niggas won't even fuck with me because y'all want to be so down with that nigga. I don't fuck with none of them niggas, man. I don't got no respect for none of them, dog. All I tell them, you see me, you got power with me, say it, nigga, so we can shoot that shit out. Don't do none of that sneaky shit. Don't send no fuck nigga my way. Say it, man. Shoot me in my face too, dog. Don't play with me, my nigga. Shoot me in my face. Do not resuscitate, man. That's how I'm living. Send me my God, dog. Send me to my mama, my brother, my nigga. Do not resuscitate. Y'all ain't living like that, dog. Y'all really living like that, man. All that y'all on the side of me. And y'all know I'm real. Y'all know I'm real in everything y'all ever touched, everything y'all ever been around. You shoot me in my face, send your killer to me, but let me know what's on first so I can give you what you want, my nigga. I'm gonna be the one give you what you want. You play with me, dog. I'm gonna fuck with you. Who you with? That's on my mama's soul. Niggas be doing all this whole ass shit, man. I don't respect none of them, man. I got love for them because I understand they had to do what they had to do. All that. Man, y'all niggas got rich off a nigga, man. Off my back, my nigga. That nigga wasn't fucking with y'all. Nigga ain't never shake your hand before that. Until after that situation with me. He came straight down and fucked with niggas, gave them niggas deals, put them niggas on everything, man.
So he's saying basically it was just some deliberate type stuff. After he stopped messing with, when he seen, when P. Diddy realized, he couldn't control him, he went and started personally, intentionally developing relationships with people that he knew that he was good with, who wanted to be put on. And it was just intentional. It wasn't about, okay, P. Diddy was generally feeling Rick Ross or DJ Khaled. It was just some ill will, intentional type stuff. Just P. Diddy ought to be ashamed of himself. I'm gonna say that he ought to be ashamed of himself. And like I said, I hope he's not sleeping at night, because he don't even deserve any type of peace like that.
Big guy, stop playing with me, man.
So that's the end of that. His testimony, we'll call it. So the article goes on to say another making The band alumni Willie Taylor spoke out as well about the experience in a now deleted Instagram post. He posted, quote, making the band was an experience for sure. Taylor wrote in a post on Instagram that's since been deleted. But the platform and contracts were all set up for the failure of hungry talents. So this is him, Willie Taylor. And then he posted, life's a marathon, not a sprint. Enjoy the journey. Take no shortcuts. What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. Just call me Hercules. Being in the spotlight isn't for everyone. Then when you add in contracts with someone who knows nothing about the industry, you can easily see how it could harm mental health. Hopefully they can heal from their trauma from the show, because we can almost promise Diddy hasn't thought about the show in years, and he kept his promise to give an opportunity. So someone posted Diddy going to hell between this and making them walk across the Brooklyn Bridge to get him some cheesecake.
Fred! Fred! Y'all got me. I'm telling you, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. This got us walking to Brooklyn for some cheesecake. You wanna get mad with me, cause I am. We ain't got nothing else. Fred! Fred! Y'all got me.
I remember that scene. That was a whole mess. That's been talked about. I think that's probably, it has to be probably most likely the most talked about scene of Making of the Band, when they had to go and walk and get that man some cheesecake. For what? Like, that's that stuff I'm talking about. So before I jump off of here, there was an article I wanted to share about Mase. And so let me jump over there and share that before we end this live, because we've been going for a minute. But I just had to get into it to just break down that video and give my commentary on Freddie P's testimony, is what I call it. I don't know if you want to call it testimony, story, but I just really wanted to get into it, and share my thoughts. So this is from theroot.com, and it reads, Diddy to Grammys Academy, y'all are shady to rap and R&B. Mase to Diddy, but did you hold me down though? Question mark. So this was stated January 31st, 2020. And it says, wow, Diddy, I guess more money really does come with more problems. One of those problems just happens to be one of your fellow artists calling you out on your hypocrisy. At Clive Davis' annual pre-Grammy Gala, Diddy made waves when he decided to get real about the Recording Academy's propensity to sideline the rap and R&B categories, something they've already been taken to task for years ago, with no real indication of learned growth or evolution. Quote, I say this with love to Grammys because you really need to know this. Every year, y'all be killing us, man, Diddy said, per the Washington Post. I'm talking about the pain. I'm speaking for all the artists here, producers, the executives, the amount of time that it takes to make these records, to put your heart out into them, and you just wanted even playing field. However, Mase, who knew Diddy when he was Puff, had some things to say. Something in the vein of, quote, whoa, now you got too much dip in your chip, end of quote. So the bad boy rapper turned minister born Mason Darrell Betha recently took to Instagram to call out Diddy born Sean John Combs on his own enabling responsibilities in the industry. The whole caption certainly had a fed up aura all around it. Quote, your past business practices knowingly has continued purposely starved. Okay, it says your past business practices knowingly has continued purposely starved your artists and been extremely unfair to the very same artists that helped you obtain that icon award on the iconic Bad Boy label. End of quote, Mase wrote. Complex reported the former Bad Boy artist claimed that 24-year-old Diddy gave him $20,000 for his publishing rights, which he added has made him never want to work with him again. The deal he signed with Diddy earned him peanuts, Mase added. Mase said he attempted to buy back the publishing rights recently, but was met with a response that said he would only do so if he could match, quote, what the European guy offered him. End of quote. He claimed his only other option is to wait until the rights revert back to him. Quote, you bought it for about $20,000 and I offered you $2 million in cash, he wrote. This is not Black excellence at all when our race is enslaving us. If it's about us owning, it can't be about us owning each other. End of quote. The rapper said that Diddy is everything he spoke out against, exploiting young musicians as much as those he targeted in the 50-minute speech. No more hiding behind love, he added. You change. Give the artists back their money so they can take care of their families. The entire conversation is very timely, not just because we are fresh off of a controversial and complicated Grammy season, but because Khalees also recently spoke on the trials and tribulations of the Shady industry. Sure, he may not be able to hear Mase's cries over the sounds of wealthy capitalists, shallow yet taken as deep, inspirational, exclusive brunch speeches, but I have a feeling this may make a bit of reverberation. It is currently trending on Twitter at the time of this article's publishing, after all. As such, The Root has reached out to Diddy's team for comment. So listen, yeah, this man, Diddy, P Diddy, Puff Daddy, Brother Love, whatever he want to call himself, in all the names, he still operate in the same manner. And from the words of his artists, former artists, label mates, whatever you want to call it, he's shady AF, and basically it's a special place in hell for somebody like him, period. Like I said it, like that's my thoughts. Like it is what it is. So let me definitely sound off in the comments. Let me know your thoughts on this. I know it was a lot. It was a lengthy live, but I wanted to just touch on all these different aspects of the situation that Freddie P put out. And I just wanted to just give some backgrounds to those who may not be so familiar with Puff Daddy and his history. Like I said, your millennials, your 90s babies, 2000 babies, like who maybe was just born in 2002, when Making of the Band kind of was a thing. So it is what it is. P. Diddy will have his day. And I believe that right now, we may not see it or know it, but I believe there's ways that he's been, being dealt with. But one day it's going to be in a way to where the world will be able to see it. And as Freddie P said, when you pass on, you want people to mourn for you, to cry. What will they say about P. Diddy when, the day that happens? Because, we all have an expiration day, but will people collectively just be mourning and boohooing over him, or will it be conversations like this about the type of life he lived and the impact that he had on people's lives? That part. So please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. This is The Party. We're the Starlights over here, and we just get into everything, all things Hollywood, celebrity, YouTube, drama. If it's trending, viral, we talk about it. We get into it. We try to break it down. We're balanced over here. We want to hear all sides. So we've been seeing and hearing enough dealing with P. Diddy. It's time to hear about these people who have worked with him closely. How do they feel? And it seems like there's the sentiments that many have, based on, their own words, or just looking at just the lives they live. It doesn't line up to this great man or this man who's presenting himself to be brother love or somebody who's just out to help the people. Like, it's quite the contrary. It's almost like he has this alter ego. He has this image that's put out there on socials that show one way of him, but then the people who really know him, who's worked with him, they're saying like something completely different. So it's very sad, and I'm praying for Freddie P, his family, anybody else who may have felt like they've been wrongfully done at the hands of P. Diddy. May the Lord be with you all, and trust that the Lord sees all and knows all, and he deals with everybody in a manner in which they deserve to be dealt with, period. So I'm going to drop the links to the different sites that, we visited, so you can kind of refer back to them. But I do thank you for tuning in to this live, and until the next broadcast, peace.